The quickest way to examine the boundaries of a text is found in the Passage Analysis tool. So to get to that tool, I'm going to click on Tools. Then under Passage, it's Passage Analysis. When this tool opens, you'll see it opens right away to the Compare Pericopes, but there's also Word Tree, Morph River, Cluster Graph, and Version River. Don't worry about those other ones for now. We're going to look at them in later videos. So the Compare Pericope tool, which is what we're looking at today, it has a number of colored columns, and at the top of each of these columns you can see, so we've got ESV, HCSB, LEB, just different translations. If you click on pericope sets, you can look at your other ones. You may not have all of these, you may have more depending on what version of Logos you have. But so each column and each color refers to a different translation. And so to start, we're just going to go to Genesis 1. So type that in up top, hit enter, and you'll see we have these colored lines with nothing. There's no information on here that would show us any difference. So all of the translations that we have access to pericope sets for, look at this is all pretty much the same. But then as we scroll down, you'll see at the end of Genesis 1, the ESV and the NASB see a break between Genesis 1 and Genesis 2, where the other translations see it happening between verses 3 and 4 or even later. So this break here is something that we look at and it tells us these are different ways that translators have segmented the text. And when we use this, it's always good to ask, what difference would it make? For instance, what difference does it make that the ESV separates God resting on the seventh day from the other 6 days? Does it think that the seventh day is a separate unit of thought? In the same way, the NASB sees the seventh day and all of Genesis 2 as a separate thought from Genesis 1. What difference would it make if the day of rest was tied to the second account of creation rather than the first? These are questions that you might ask after looking at this. You might have other ones, but these are some base level observations you can see when you look at the text. So this is one way that you can look and see how it's been segmented and how the breaks are. Another way that we can do this is we can actually look at the segmentation in commentaries. So you have a number of commentaries in Logos, again depending on your passage, but for now we're going to look at a commentary that you all should have, which is the NAC, or the New American Commentary. So I'm going to close out of Passage Analysis, and I'm going to go to the command bar, which is this little text bar near the top center, and I'm going to type in Open NAC and then Genesis. Now a drop-down window appears, and one of the first things we notice is a possible segmentation that the NAC sees, in that Genesis 1 through 11:26 are one commentary, and Genesis 11:27 through 50:26 are another. So I'm going to click on Genesis 1 through 11:26, the NAC, and it will come up. Now, at this point, I would like to have a little more space as I'm looking at the NAC. And so just quickly, I want to show you, I'm going to close out of my Logos workbook, fall 2015. And then I'm going to, there's two ways I can do this. I'd like for this to take up the whole Logos screen. I can find the edge here, and I can drag. I can click and hold and drag. Or if I click on the NAC commentary, this little tab at the top, and hold, I can drag it around, and I can make it just on the left, just on the right, or the whole screen. So I want it to be the whole screen for now. Now, mine is open up to here because this is the last thing I was looking at, but yours might be on the title page, it might be somewhere else, but on the Locator tab, we want to go to the outline of Genesis 1:11 through 11:26. Now, if you don't have the Locator tab to do this, that's this. You'll see these double arrows. Click on them, You also, if you don't see those double arrows, you want to go in here and make sure you have a check mark next to show locator bar. So we're under the outline of Genesis 1:1 through 11:26. Now here we can see the NAC commentator has put things in a certain order. They see the creation of heaven and earth, Genesis 1:1 through 2:11 or 2:3, as one set or one segment or one unit of thought, and inside that they have smaller segmentations, but this is their big thought, and these are the things happening inside. And then they have 2:4 through 4:26 as their next main segment with some little subsegments under that as well. So using this, you can actually use this in most commentaries that you have access to in Logos, or even paper commentaries. They're all going to have some type of outline or structure for the book they're doing. So this is another way to look at segmentation besides the passage analysis. And this one usually gives you a little bit deeper because you can see kind of how they classify things. But it's another way to see segmentation.